Every cat has a unique nose print. Just like humans have unique fingerprints, cats have their own special patterns on their noses. Each cat's nose has a distinct print that can be used to identify them, much like how fingerprints work for people. This trait makes every cat's nose completely unique and adds a bit of personality to their charm. So, if you have a furry, purring friend at home, know that their nose is as unique as their character. This amazing fact highlights how diverse and mysterious the feline world is, where even the smallest details matter. The Shawshank Redemption, a movie that didn't become a legend right away. Who would have thought that one of the greatest films of all time, The Shawshank Redemption, initially flopped at the box office? When this masterpiece by Stephen King and director Frank Darabont was released in 1994, it didn't make much money in theaters. But thanks to word of mouth, the film gained popularity over time. People began recommending it to friends, and it gradually became a cult classic. Today, it tops many lists of the best films of all time, proving that the power of great storytelling and genuine audience love can make a film immortal. The oldest toy in the world is just a stick. Believe it or not, one of the oldest toys on Earth is simply a stick. For thousands of years, sticks have been used by people for all kinds of purposes, from simple play to the creation of complex tools. Children have used sticks in role-playing games, imagining them as swords, weapons, or magical wands. These simple yet versatile objects remain a staple in children's games even today. Their popularity is so great that in 2008, the United States even established a National Stick Day to celebrate the importance of the stick in toy history. Who would have thought that such a simple item could become part of our cultural heritage? Did you know there's a basketball court on top of the US Supreme Court building? Yes, you heard that right. At the very top of the US Supreme Court building, there's a basketball court known as the highest court in the land. It's a place where judges and court staff can relax and play basketball between hearings. Imagine, after making important decisions, the justices can shed their robes and shoot some hoops, trading legal arguments for basketball shots. It's a truly unique combination of law and sport. Believe it or not, the world's smallest island is only a few square meters. Bishop Rock, located in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of England, holds the title of the world's smallest island. Its area is only 8/1000ths of a square kilometer, just 3/1000ths of a square mile. Despite its tiny size, the island boasts a lighthouse and is the most westerly point of England. It's officially recognized in the Guinness World Records as the smallest inhabited island, proving that even the smallest piece of land can be home to something remarkable. Is it true that blood type O is the most common in the world? Yes, blood type O is indeed the most common on the planet. Approximately 38% of the world's population has this blood type, making it not only the most frequent, but also highly valuable for transfusions. Because of its universal compatibility, type O blood can be given to anyone with a positive blood type, which makes it critical in medical emergencies. If you have blood type O, know that you possess a valuable resource that could save countless lives. How about this? In Turkey, there is an ancient underground city that could hold over 20,000 people. Derinkuyu is one of the largest and most mysterious underground cities in the world. It was built thousands of years ago in Cappadocia and consists of several levels deep underground. For centuries, the city was used as a refuge during wars and raids. It included everything needed for life: living quarters, wineries, churches, ventilation shafts, and even schools. The city was discovered accidentally in 1963, and to this day, archaeologists have not fully explored all of its secrets. Why can you hear bridges in Italy? In Venice, some ancient bridges literally sing due to vibrations. In certain spots, plates are installed to create sounds when people walk on them. The effect is caused by resonance and the unique construction of the bridges. On a quiet night, when the city sleeps, the bridges become musical instruments, played by tourists rather than musicians. These sounds give Venice a distinctive charm, echoing the city's long history. Did you know that penguins swallow stones? These tuxedo-wearing wonders not only excel at swimming, but also have an unusual habit of swallowing small stones. Penguins ingest pebbles to help them digest food more efficiently, using the stones to grind up food in their stomachs, much like birds use gravel. In addition, these stones provide extra weight, allowing penguins to dive deeper in search of fish. This clever adaptation turns penguins into expert divers and makes them even more fascinating. Did you know that the King of Sweden has almost no power? Contrary to popular belief, the King of Sweden is not an active political leader. His role is purely symbolic, performing mainly ceremonial duties. Sweden is a constitutional monarchy where political power lies with the parliament and the prime minister. Nevertheless, the king continues to play an important role in the cultural and social life of the country, representing Sweden on the international stage and attending state events. Interestingly, the Swedish royal family is considered one of the most popular and respected in the world, despite having minimal political influence. Incredible but true. The Arctic tern takes the longest journey on Earth. Every year, the Arctic tern embarks on an extraordinary migration from the Arctic to Antarctica and back, covering up to 70,000 kilometers. This incredible bird follows the sun, living in perpetual summer as it flies from one pole to the other. The Arctic tern's migration is the longest of any animal, showcasing not only its endurance, but also its remarkable navigational skills. It's a testament to nature's astonishing adaptability and the length some creatures will go to survive. The royal game of is the oldest board game, over 4,000 years old. This ancient game was discovered during excavations in Mesopotamia and dates back to around 2600 BCE. Played by two players on a 20-square board, the game involved strategic moves with pieces that maneuvered around obstacles. It had a major influence on the development of future board games, demonstrating the strategic thinking of ancient civilizations. Just imagine how deep-rooted our love for games really is. Did you know there's a glacier on Pluto the size of Texas and Oklahoma combined? It turns out that on the distant dwarf planet Pluto, there's a massive glacier called Sputnik Planitia. This glacier covers an area the size of Texas and Oklahoma combined. Amazingly, this glacier is made of nitrogen ice, not water, as it would be on Earth. At the center of this region lies a heart-shaped feature made of frozen nitrogen that slowly flows, similar to glaciers on Earth. This fascinating landscape is just one of Pluto's mysteries that continue to amaze scientists. Each planet in our solar system is truly unique. Did you know that scorpions can glow in the dark? When exposed to ultraviolet light, scorpions begin to glow bright blue-green. This happens due to a substance in their exoskeleton that reacts to ultraviolet light. Scientists are still debating why scorpions have this ability. It might help them hide from predators or serve as a signal to other scorpions. Whatever the reason, it's one of nature's most astonishing phenomena. Ready to walk the entire Great Wall of China? If you're planning to walk the entire length of the Great Wall of China, prepare for a monumental journey. The Great Wall stretches for over 5,000 miles, or about 8,000 kilometers, across China. Walking the entire distance could take around 18 months, walking every day. The Great Wall is not just an ancient feat of engineering, but one of the world's greatest wonders, offering breathtaking views and glimpses into China's vast history at every step. Sperm whales, the loudest creatures on Earth. Sperm whales are underwater sound machines. They produce clicks and vocalizations that can reach up to 230 decibels. That's several times louder than a jet engine. These sounds help sperm whales communicate over vast distances and navigate the ocean depths. They use them like sonar to hunt giant squid at depths of over 1,000 meters. These clicks are so powerful that they can even stun their prey from a distance. Imagine if humans had similar abilities. We could communicate across entire oceans. Is it possible? Sea otters hold hands while sleeping. Sea otters are one of the most adorable animals in the ocean, and they have a heartwarming habit of holding hands while they sleep. This behavior isn't just cute. It serves a practical purpose, preventing them from drifting apart in ocean currents. By holding on to each other, they form small floating rafts, demonstrating their strong social bonds and clever ways to stay together in the ever-moving sea. Why can toads live far from water? Ever wondered what makes toads different from frogs? One of the key differences is their habitat. Frogs need to stay near water because their skin requires moisture to breathe. Toads, however, have thicker skin that allows them to retain moisture and live away from water. So if you spot an amphibian in your backyard, it's more likely to be a toad than a frog. These adaptations help toads survive in drier places, making them true masters of land survival. Have you ever wondered that there are underground oceans? Beneath the Earth's surface, there are massive water reservoirs which could be called underground oceans. The volume of water in these reservoirs exceeds that of all the oceans, lakes and rivers on the surface. These hidden waters are located hundreds of kilometers deep underground, and scientists are just beginning to understand their role in the planet's geological processes. Mosquito detectives. Case closed. Did you know that mosquitoes can help solve crimes? In Finland, police found a dead mosquito inside a stolen car. By analyzing the blood left inside the mosquito, they identified the DNA of the thief. Female mosquitoes feed on blood to nourish their eggs, while males stick to nectar. This unique case shows how even the smallest creatures can play a big role in justice. It's a perfect example of how science and nature sometimes surprise us with their unexpected contributions. Who would have thought that electricity could be transmitted through the air? Scientists are already developing wireless energy transmission technologies. The basic principle is transmitting power using magnetic fields or lasers. In the future, charging mobile devices or even cars could happen without wires. This will change how we think about electronics and transportation. Tesla dreamed of wireless power back in the early 20th century, and now his ideas are becoming a reality. Did you know that France sent a cat into space? In 1963, France launched Feline, also known as Astrocat, into space. Electrodes were carefully implanted in her brain, allowing scientists to receive neurological signals during her voyage among the stars. Feline bravely journeyed into space and miraculously survived the mission, becoming the first cat in history to venture beyond Earth. She not only etched her name into the annals of space exploration, but also showed that animals have been important pioneers in human cosmic endeavors. How would you react if you found out there is an underwater museum in Greece? In the Aegean Sea, near the coast of Greece, there is a unique underwater museum. This archaeological site allows visitors to dive with scuba gear and explore ancient shipwrecks and artifacts lying on the seabed. It is the first underwater museum of its scale and attracts both history enthusiasts and divers from around the world. How would you react if you found out that snails can sleep for up to 3 years? Some species of snails can enter a deep sleep called estivation to survive harsh conditions like extreme drought or lack of food. During this time, they slow down almost all their bodily functions and seal themselves inside their shells with a protective layer. This state of dormancy can last for up to 3 years, allowing them to wait out unfavorable conditions until the environment becomes more hospitable. It's like going to sleep and waking up years later, only to find that the world around you has changed completely. Did you know that grizzly bears can run faster than horses? Contrary to the belief that bears are clumsy giants, they can reach speeds of over 50 kilometers per hour. That's faster than many horses. Grizzlies have not only powerful muscles, but also incredible agility, making them fearsome predators. Their speed allows them to hunt successfully and protect their territory. So, if you encounter a bear in the wild, don't think you can outrun it. Better to keep a safe distance and admire its power from afar. Is it possible? There's blue fire on volcanoes. On the island of Java, Indonesia, stands the Ijen volcano, famous for its unique natural phenomenon, blue fire. This extraordinary sight is caused by the high concentration of sulfur in volcanic gases, which ignites upon contact with the air, producing a bright blue flame. This blue fire can only be seen at night, creating a breathtaking and almost mystical display. Tourists from all over the world travel here to witness this rare phenomenon that cannot be seen anywhere else. Did you know that there's a stone forest on Earth? In China's Yunnan province, you'll find one of the most unique natural phenomena, the Feline, or stone forest. This astonishing forest isn't made of trees, but of towering limestone pillars that rise towards the sky like jagged spikes of rock. The age of this extraordinary forest is over 270 million years. Erosion from rain and wind has sculpted the rocks into such bizarre shapes. For centuries, people have attributed mystical powers to this place, and local legends claim that spirits of nature inhabit Feline. It's so majestic and mysterious, it almost looks like a set from a fantasy movie. Can you believe that a shrimp's heart is in its head? Yes, you heard that right. A shrimp's heart is located in its head. This fascinating fact makes the shrimp unique among sea creatures. In its tiny head, both the brain and heart work in harmony to keep the shrimp alive. It's like a little command center where all the vital functions happen in one place. This quirky anatomy allows shrimp to remain highly efficient and agile in their underwater world, making them one of nature's most interesting creations. Why do people love talking about themselves? Studies show that people spend about 60% of their conversation time talking about themselves, and on social media, this number goes up to 80%. This is because people enjoy sharing their thoughts, experiences, and personal stories. Especially in the age of social media, these platforms have become spaces for self-expression and connection. This fact provides an intriguing insight into human nature, the desire for communication and recognition. The secret to flight. 4 forces that keep a plane in the air. A plane's flight isn't just about its wings. In reality, there are 4 forces at work: lift, thrust, drag, and gravity. Lift keeps the plane in the air thanks to the wings. Thrust propels the plane forward through its engines. Drag resists the plane's motion, and gravity pulls it down. These forces work together to maintain stable flight, like a well-choreographed dance where each force has its role. Understanding these forces can make the marvel of flight even more fascinating. It's interesting that Tokyo has no street addresses. In Tokyo, addresses are assigned not to streets but to buildings, which is very unusual for a large city. Buildings are numbered in order of construction, not by their location on a street. This means finding the right address for the first time can be challenging if you're not familiar with the area. Instead of streets, residents and visitors orient themselves by metro stations and districts, giving Tokyo a unique charm and character. Why do lightning bolts often strike the same place? Lightning strikes tend to favor certain spots. For example, Lake Victoria in Africa is one of the most lightning-prone places in the world. Why does this happen? It's due to unique climate conditions that create almost continuous thunderstorms. Warm air rising from the lake's surface meets cooler air currents, triggering constant electrical discharges. Here's what's even more interesting. Lightning can strike the same place several times in a short period, and it's not a myth. Researchers found that high ground conductivity also plays a key role in attracting lightning to specific spots. The flight of the chicken. Why don't chickens fly like eagles? Imagine this. The longest flight a chicken has ever made lasted only 13 seconds. Although chickens have wings, they aren't designed for long flights. Unlike eagles and other birds, chickens can only take short hops and fly a few meters by flapping their wings. This feature is due to their anatomy. Their bodies are too heavy, and their wing muscles are not developed enough for sustained flight. However, in rare cases, chickens can cover significant distances, but this is the exception rather than the rule. So next time you see a chicken, remember, it may be a bird, but it's far from being an aerial creature. It's interesting that Italy has a failed skyscraper. In Milan, there is a skyscraper that locals call the failure. The Pirelli building, constructed in the 1950s, became a symbol of architectural failure, constantly requiring repairs due to design flaws. Despite its modern shape, the building became an object of mockery, but over time it transformed into one of the city's iconic landmarks thanks to its unusual fate. Being born at midnight on January 1st, a rare chance. The odds of a baby being born precisely at 12:01 a.m. on January 1st are about 1 in 26,600. That's roughly the same as the chance of being struck by lightning. Imagine how incredible it would be to ring in the new year with the birth of a new person in the very first minute of the year. This rare and surprising event becomes a special moment for the family and can even attract media attention. It's one of those unique times when life and timing align in an unforgettable way. What if I told you that you can boil water just by shaking it? Yes, it's true, although practically impossible to do. If you shake a container of water fast and hard enough, you can create friction, which will raise the water's temperature. Theoretically, if you shake it quickly enough, you could even bring the water to a boil. This unusual physics experiment shows how mechanical energy can be converted into heat. While you won't be making tea this way, the mere possibility that shaking could boil water is astonishing. You probably didn't know that the International Space Station is the most expensive object ever built. The cost of building and operating the ISS is approximately $150 billion. For comparison, that's almost 50 times the cost of the Eiffel Tower. All this money was spent to create a one-of-a-kind scientific laboratory complex orbiting the Earth. Did you know that the whale shark is the largest fish in the world? Whale sharks can grow up to 12 meters long, making them the largest fish on the planet. Despite their immense size, these gentle giants feed mainly on plankton and tiny organisms. They filter massive amounts of water daily through their enormous mouths. Don't worry though, whale sharks are completely harmless to humans and can even be quite friendly if you ever encounter them in the ocean. How about this? In Italy, there is a village built on lava. In Italy, at the foot of Mount Etna, lies the village of Bronte, known for having some of its homes built directly on ancient lava flows. Volcanic eruptions often created layers of lava so solid that entire structures could be built on top. This unique feature has made Bronte famous worldwide. What's even more astonishing is that the locals are not afraid to live next to an active volcano, believing that the ancient lava protects their homes from new eruptions. Can you imagine there's a bridge in Sweden that goes underwater? In Sweden, there is a unique bridge called the Öresund Bridge, which connects the country to Denmark. This bridge suddenly ends and dives underwater, turning into a tunnel. This engineering marvel was designed to avoid interfering with sea traffic. Driving from Sweden to Denmark gives the feeling that you're diving into the sea right in your car, adding an exciting element to the journey. Is it true that Iceland has no railways? Iceland really has no railways, despite technological advancements in other countries. The main reason is the geographical features of the country, which consists of volcanic rocks and mountainous terrain, making railway construction extremely difficult and expensive. Additionally, due to the small population, roads are a more convenient mode of transport. So, despite all the progress, you won't find trains there. Cleopatra. Closer to us than to the pyramids. Cleopatra, the famous Egyptian queen, lived closer in time to us than to the construction of the pyramids. Her reign ended in 30 BC, while the Great Pyramids of Giza were built around 2600 BC. It's mind-blowing to think that Cleopatra is closer in time to the modern world than to those ancient wonders she could have seen in her Egypt. This is a vivid reminder of how history can challenge our perception of time. It turns out that hippos secrete bloody sweat to protect themselves from the sun. Hippos' skin produces a special reddish liquid that acts as sunscreen and has antiseptic properties. This bloody sweat not only protects hippos from harmful UV rays, but also helps heal wounds. In the wild, this feature makes hippos true survival experts who have found an amazing way to shield themselves from the sun. Why does freshly cut grass smell so good? The fresh scent of newly mowed grass is actually a distress signal. When grass is cut, it releases chemicals to warn nearby plants of danger. These compounds, known as green leaf volatiles, are a plant's way of signaling that it has been injured. This remarkable mechanism highlights the sophisticated communication that exists even in the plant world. So, the next time you enjoy the smell of cut grass, remember, it's nature's way of calling for help. What is a clouder? Meet a group of cats. Have you ever wondered what a group of cats is called? It turns out the proper term is clouder. This quirky word is used to describe several cats gathered together. There are other terms like glaring or pounce for groups of cats, but clouder sounds especially charming. The next time you see a bunch of cats hanging out, you can impress everyone with your knowledge of this unusual term. Tiny plants, mighty power. Half of Earth's oxygen comes from the ocean. The oxygen we breathe is not only created by forests, but also by tiny marine organisms like plankton, algae, and seaweed. These little factories produce more than half of the planet's oxygen through photosynthesis. Thanks to sunlight, they transform carbon dioxide into oxygen, which is vital for all living beings on Earth. This amazing fact reminds us of the importance of the oceans and their role in sustaining life on our planet. Why can rivers in Iceland change their direction? Iceland is a country known for its unusual natural phenomena, and rivers here can unexpectedly change their direction. This happens due to volcanic activity under glaciers. When magma heats the ice, massive amounts of meltwater form underground rivers that change course depending on the pressure and movement of the ice. As a result, a river can flow in the opposite direction within just a few days, leaving residents and tourists puzzled. How did lasers help discover a ghost city under the jungle in America? In Honduras, scientists used laser scanning technology to survey dense jungles and stumbled upon the ruins of an ancient city hidden beneath centuries-old trees. This city, known as the White City or City of the Gods, had been forgotten and inaccessible to people for hundreds of years. Local legends say the city is cursed, and researchers found numerous artifacts that remain mysterious to this day. Can cockroaches survive a nuclear explosion? Cockroaches have long earned a reputation as super survivors, capable of withstanding even the most extreme conditions, including high levels of radiation. But is it true that they can survive a nuclear explosion? In reality, cockroaches can indeed survive radiation exposure, but there are creatures far better adapted to this, like certain types of fungi and microbes. Nevertheless, cockroaches remain a symbol of resilience, able to survive conditions that would kill most other living creatures. What if I told you the largest family in the world has more than 180 members? In India, the world's largest family, led by Ziona Chana, consists of 39 wives, 94 children, 14 daughters-in-law, and 33 grandchildren. They all live together in a 4-story house with 100 rooms and a shared kitchen. This family belongs to a Christian sect that allows polygamy, and despite their large size, they live harmoniously under one roof. This incredible family is truly a dynasty that amazes and inspires people around the world. Why is there a museum dedicated to pasta in Italy? Italy is the land of pasta, so it's no surprise that they have a museum devoted to this culinary masterpiece. In Rome, you can visit the Pasta Museum, where you'll find all kinds of pasta varieties, pasta-making machines, and even historic pasta. This place is for true carbohydrate enthusiasts, where you can learn about the history of creating spaghetti, fettuccine, and other types of pasta that Italians have been making for hundreds of years. Surprisingly, there are also humorous exhibits, like pasta shaped like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Octopuses are the interior designers of the ocean you never knew about. Octopuses aren't just smart, they are also the artists of the underwater world. These fascinating creatures love collecting shiny shells, stones, and other treasures to decorate their underwater homes. They create underwater gardens around their dens, meticulously arranging everything. This shows not only their survival skills, but also their sense of artistry. Their homes are not just beautiful, but also designed to protect them from predators and attract the attention of other octopuses. Who would have thought that these sea creatures had such a talent for interior design? Did you know the world's largest living rodent can weigh over 60 kilograms? The capybara, or water hog, is the largest rodent on Earth. It can grow up to 1.3 meters in length and weigh as much as 66 kilograms. This semi-aquatic herbivore, native to South America, has webbed feet that help it swim. Capybaras can hold their breath underwater for up to 5 minutes and are highly social animals, often living in groups of up to 100 individuals. Italy, the country of UNESCO treasures. Italy holds the top spot in the world for the number of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, an impressive 58 locations. These include famous landmarks like the Roman Colosseum and the stunning Amalfi Coast. But there are also hidden gems like the Dolomite Mountains that will take your breath away. Italy is a paradise for history lovers, art enthusiasts, and those seeking spectacular landscapes. Every corner of this country is steeped in culture and heritage, making it a must-visit destination for travelers and culture buffs alike. Is it true that time flows differently in space? Yes, and it's due to Einstein's theory of relativity. The faster you move, or the closer you are to an object with a strong gravitational field, the slower time passes for you relative to the rest of the universe. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station literally age more slowly because they're moving at high speeds. This phenomenon is called gravitational time dilation. Who would have thought that polar bears have black skin? Yes, beneath their snowy white fur, polar bears actually have black skin. This may seem surprising, but nature designed these animals to have the best possible insulation for surviving in freezing environments. Their black skin helps them absorb more sunlight, while their hollow, transparent fur traps the sun's rays, creating a thermos effect. This incredible adaptation allows polar bears to stay warm in the extreme Arctic cold. Although their fur appears white, it merely reflects the surrounding light, making them almost invisible against the snow and ice. Did you know it's impossible to breathe and swallow at the same time? Want to know why? It's all thanks to a small flap in our throat called the epiglottis. When you swallow, the epiglottis automatically closes your airways to keep food and liquid from entering the windpipe. This amazing mechanism protects us from choking and makes swallowing safe. Next time you drink water, think about how your body works behind the scenes to keep you safe every step of the way. Why did Finland create hedgehog robots for cleaning parks? In Tampere, one of Finland's most eco-conscious cities, robots that looked like hedgehogs were invented to collect litter in parks. These adorable devices are equipped with sensors that help them locate and pick up trash. The hedgehog robots not only help keep the parks clean, but also bring joy to park visitors who can watch the little robots at work. Did you know car aromas can reduce accidents? It's surprising but true. The right scent inside a car can make driving safer. Studies show that aromas such as lavender or vanilla can calm drivers, reduce stress, and help maintain focus. A relaxed driver is less likely to be involved in an accident, making the choice of car scent not just a pleasant detail, but also an important safety factor. Millionaire without a million. How to get rich from scratch. Who would have thought that in today's world you can become a millionaire without a single penny? The term millionaire has long been synonymous with wealth and success. But did you know that there's a phenomenon called a nillionaire, from the word nil, zero? This term describes people who, in reality, don't have a million or any significant capital, but live a lifestyle that suggests high status. This can be connected to borrowed funds, loans, or the creation of an impression of wealth, though there's no real capital behind it. In an age where social media can turn anyone into a star, this phenomenon is becoming increasingly relevant. Who would have thought that you can appear rich without having real wealth? What's hidden in Lego's secret vault? Lego has a secret underground vault that stores every single set of building blocks the company has ever made. It's a true time capsule filled with nostalgia and creativity, waiting to delight fans of all ages. Imagine the wonders hidden beneath this vault, where both classic and modern sets are stored together. This vault is a dream come true for Lego enthusiasts, preserving the company's entire legacy. Why does fish rain actually happen? In the city of Lloro, Honduras, an unusual phenomenon occurs every year: rain of fish. This strange natural event happens during the heavy summer storms when hundreds of live fish fall to the ground along with the rain. Locals call it lluvia de peces and believe it to be a divine blessing. However, scientists suggest that strong waterspouts form in the atmosphere, lifting fish from nearby bodies of water and depositing them kilometers away. It's one of those phenomena that remind us how surprising and unpredictable nature can be. It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories, and even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations. Did you know the term internet was first used in 1974? We all know the internet is an essential part of modern life, but did you know the first mention of the word was in 1974? At that time, internet was used to describe a global network of interconnected computer systems. Back then, it was a novelty, but by the end of the 20th century, the internet became a revolutionary technology that changed the world. Today, billions of people are connected online, and the internet has become not just a communication tool, but also a key platform for business, science, and education. Believe it or not, the dragon's blood tree cries red sap. On the island of Socotra, there grows an ancient tree that releases a bright red sap that looks like blood, giving it its name. The sap of the dragon's blood tree has been used for centuries in medicine, as well as for making dyes and even in rituals. This unusual substance acts as a natural antiseptic and is still considered a valuable resource in some cultures. Legends say that the tree guards its secrets, and the sap is the tears of an ancient dragon. Can you imagine that some fungi control insects? Deep in the Amazon rainforest lives a fungus called Ophiocordyceps, which literally turns ants into zombies. The fungus invades the ant's body and takes over its mind, forcing it to climb up a tree before it dies. Then the fungus sprouts out of the ant's head and releases spores to infect others. It sounds like a horror movie plot, but these fungi really exist, and it's one of nature's most mind-blowing phenomena. Chocolate cosmos. Imagine a flower that smells like chocolate. The chocolate cosmos, Cosmos atrosanguineus, is a flower that might surprise you with its scent, reminiscent of real chocolate. This dark red flower, native to Central America, is so rare that it's almost extinct in the wild, yet it continues to be cultivated in gardens worldwide to enjoy its unique aroma. Imagine strolling through a garden where, instead of floral scents, you breathe in the sweet, enticing smell of chocolate. It's nature's gift to those with a sweet tooth. Did you know the creator of the Frisbee had his ashes turned into a Frisbee? After the death of Walter Morrison, the inventor of the Frisbee, his ashes were turned into a Frisbee. This unusual tribute not only kept his spirit alive, but literally made him part of the game he created. It's a reminder that a person's memory can fly on, encouraging us to enjoy every moment of life. Did you know the largest living organism on Earth is a mushroom? The honey fungus, also known as the giant mushroom, covers an astonishing 2,385 acres in the Malheur National Forest in Oregon, USA. This fungus forms a massive underground network of mycelium, which is the vegetative part of the fungus that spreads beneath the soil. The mycelium isn't visible to the naked eye, but it is responsible for the mushrooms that appear above the ground. Can you imagine one organism covering such a vast area? It's a true wonder of nature that few people know about. Apple, the richest company in the world. As of January 2024, Apple reached a market capitalization of $2,890 billion. This makes it the most valuable company in the world, surpassing giants like Microsoft and Saudi Aramco. Apple continues to surprise the world with its innovations, shaping the future of technology and influencing the global economy. Every new Apple product creates a frenzy, and its impact on the modern world is hard to overstate. It's amazing how one company can have such a huge influence on millions of lives. Why do different countries have different-sized banknotes? Banknotes in various countries are sized differently to help people with visual impairments distinguish them by touch. For instance, in the United States, all bills are the same size, but in euros and British pounds, each denomination varies in length and width. This helps not only the visually impaired, but also everyone else quickly differentiate denominations without looking. Additionally, it adds protection against counterfeiting, as counterfeit bills rarely match the exact sizes of the originals. Did you know that the colored squares on toothpaste tubes aren't magic? You've probably noticed the small colored squares at the end of toothpaste tubes. Some people believe that these colored markings indicate the product's composition, whether it's natural or chemical. But the truth is, that's just a myth. These marks, which can be black, blue, red, or green, are known as eye marks and serve purely technical purposes. They help machines on the production line correctly orient the tube for packaging and labeling. These marks contain no information about the toothpaste's ingredients or quality. So next time you see such a mark, you'll know it's just a technical detail, not a sign of some mysterious chemical composition. Did you know that there are fish that can live without water? The climbing perch can leave the water and crawl on land for several days. This fish has the unique ability to absorb oxygen directly from the air and even walk using its fins. Thanks to a special structure in its gills, it can breathe atmospheric air. It uses its strong tail to move across the ground, almost like a small lizard. Did you know that some mushrooms can glow in the dark? Certain types of mushrooms have a magical ability to glow in the dark, creating a mystical forest scene. This phenomenon is called bioluminescence. When walking through the woods at night, some mushrooms emit a soft, mysterious glow, turning the forest floor into a fairy tale. This glow attracts insects, helping the mushrooms spread their spores, making them not only beautiful, but functional. Bioluminescent mushrooms are yet another example of nature's wonders. Is the 10,000 steps a day just a myth? We often hear that walking 10,000 steps a day is essential for good health, but did you know that this number isn't scientifically backed? The figure originated in the 1960s as part of a marketing campaign for a Japanese pedometer whose name translates as 10,000 steps. It was simply a catchy slogan that stuck in the culture, but in reality, there is no specific scientific data that confirms that exactly 10,000 steps is the magic number. The number of steps needed to stay healthy can vary from person to person. Who would have thought a group of badgers is called a set? In the world of wildlife terminology, a group of badgers is known as a set. This unusual term adds a bit of quirkiness to the vocabulary of nature. Badgers are known for their burrowing abilities, and they form close-knit social groups. This unique collective noun perfectly captures their digging prowess and teamwork. So, next time you see a group of badgers, you'll know you're witnessing a seat in action, a true badge of nature's oddities. An endless chocolate bar? Illusion or reality? The illusion of an endless chocolate bar is a geometric trick that creates the impression that a bar of chocolate can regenerate itself infinitely. It's an ingenious visual illusion that tricks our minds into believing in mathematical magic. Unfortunately, this trick doesn't work with real chocolate bars, but wouldn't it be a dream come true if it did? It's interesting that elephants have toes on their feet. Beneath the massive feet of elephants lies something surprising: 5 toes, with thick pads that help evenly distribute the giant's weight. This allows elephants to move almost silently, despite their enormous size. Furthermore, these toes help them walk on various terrains, from desert sands to dense jungles, without getting stuck or injuring their feet. This foot structure makes their movement light and graceful, with each step feeling the surface beneath them. Who would have thought that you can see sounds through light? Sounds can not only be heard, but also seen. Using special equipment like oscilloscopes, scientists can visualize sound waves, turning them into light pulses. These pulses take on different shapes depending on the frequency and intensity of the sound. The sight is incredible. High frequencies appear as fast, thin lines, while low ones as slow, broad patterns. Technology allows us to see music and sounds, adding a new dimension to how we perceive them. The story of ink saving: how a period saved a newspaper thousands of dollars. How important do you think a tiny change in logo design could be? In 1967, the New York Times decided to remove the period at the end of its name. This decision wasn't driven by aesthetics, but by savings. The newspaper calculated that dropping the period could save them a significant amount of ink, around $600 a year, which today equals approximately $6,000. While such an amount may seem insignificant at first, for publishers, it became an example of how even the smallest changes can lead to substantial resource savings. Imagine how one small decision could impact the budget of an entire company. Did you know there are about 4,000 satellites flying above you? Currently, over 4,000 active satellites are orbiting Earth, performing various tasks. They provide GPS signals, weather data, telecommunications, and even climate monitoring. But that's not all. Each year, more satellites are launched into orbit, raising serious concerns about space debris, which could threaten future space missions. Why is there a village in Norway where it's Christmas every day? In the Norwegian village of Drøbak, a festive Christmas spirit lasts all year long. There's a Santa Claus museum, a postal service for sending holiday letters, and shops full of Christmas decorations. Even in summer you can feel like it's winter, and the locals happily maintain this festive atmosphere. Tourists come here to experience a holiday wonderland, leaving with smiles and holiday cheer. Have you ever wondered that in Italy there is an exploding vegetable garden? In the Italian village of Trastevere, there is an astonishing phenomenon. Plants in local vegetable gardens can literally explode under certain weather conditions. This happens due to the accumulation of gas in the soil, which, with sudden changes in pressure or temperature, can cause small bursts. The locals call this phenomenon the Garden of Fire. Science does not yet have a clear explanation, but it has become a part of local culture and a tourist attraction. How do insects breathe without lungs? Insects have a fascinating respiratory system. They don't have lungs, but instead breathe through tiny pores called spiracles. These spiracles are located on their thorax and abdomen, allowing air to flow through a network of tubes called tracheae. Some insects can even control their breathing by opening and closing the spiracles, and in low oxygen conditions, they can temporarily slow their metabolism by recycling the oxygen stored in their tracheae. This respiratory system is just one of the many ingenious adaptations that help insects thrive in diverse environments. Blind sight. How can someone see without realizing it? Imagine being blind but still being able to see movements and objects. This phenomenon is known as blind sight. It occurs in people with damage to the visual cortex. Even though they don't see in the conventional sense, they can intuitively detect the location of objects and even guess where they are moving. How is this possible? Other parts of the brain are still able to process visual information. This fascinating phenomenon makes us wonder about how much our brain does in the background without us even being aware of it. Did you know that the world's smallest mammal weighs less than a penny? The bumblebee bat holds the record as the world's smallest mammal, weighing less than a penny. Native to Southeast Asia, these tiny bats live in caves and hunt for insects with remarkable efficiency. Despite their small size, just about 2 grams, they are perfectly adapted to their environment. The bumblebee bat demonstrates that nature's diversity includes even the tiniest of creatures, each playing an important role in the grand tapestry of life. How many toes do you think cats have on their front paws? Cats' paws are truly unique, not just because they're cute. Most cats have 5 toes on their front paws and only 4 on their back paws. This makes their movement system particularly efficient for hunting and climbing. However, some polydactyl cats have extra toes, making them even more unique. It seems nature decided that a cat's paw shouldn't just be a survival tool, but also a perfect machine for capturing human hearts. Why is Venus hotter than Mercury, even though it's farther from the Sun? Despite Mercury being the closest planet to the Sun, Venus holds the title of the hottest planet in our solar system. Its surface temperature reaches 460 degrees Celsius, or about 860 degrees Fahrenheit. This is all due to its dense atmosphere, mostly made up of carbon dioxide, which creates a powerful greenhouse effect, trapping heat. Venus's atmosphere acts like a giant blanket, making it resemble an inferno, even though it's farther from the Sun. Believe it or not, lasers can actually cool objects. While lasers are typically associated with heat, there are special lasers that can cool objects down to ultra-low temperatures. This process, called laser cooling, is used to reach temperatures near absolute zero. These technologies play a key role in quantum physics and are used in experiments with atoms and particles, leading to groundbreaking discoveries in science. Hard to believe, but there's an ice castle in Norway that disappears every spring. In the village of Alta in northern Norway, every winter a stunning ice hotel and castle are built entirely from snow and ice. This unique structure exists for just a few months. Once spring arrives, it melts and vanishes. Every year, the ice hotel is rebuilt from scratch, with new ice sculptures, an ice bar, and rooms for guests. This project has become a major attraction for tourists, who come to admire the incredible architecture and immerse themselves in a world made entirely of frozen water. Did you know your brain consumes 20% of your body's energy? Despite accounting for only 2% of your body weight, the brain consumes a whopping 20% of all the energy your body produces. This means that every time you think hard or solve complex tasks, your brain is working like an energy-hungry organ. Next time you feel mentally exhausted, remember, your brain is truly burning calories as if it's training for a marathon. Hard to believe, but it takes 8 minutes for sunlight to reach Earth. The sunlight we see every day actually began its journey from the sun 8 minutes ago. This is because the speed of light is about 300,000 kilometers per second, and the distance from the sun to Earth is approximately 150 million kilometers. So every time you look at the sun, you're seeing its past. This fascinating time delay is one of the most interesting phenomena of cosmic physics. Did you know that lobsters live a long time, but they're not immortal? Contrary to popular belief, lobsters are not biologically immortal, but they do possess a fascinating secret, an enzyme called telomerase that helps repair their cells. This enzyme allows lobsters to keep reproducing DNA and regenerating cells, which contributes to their seemingly endless longevity. This remarkable ability has given rise to the myth of the immortal lobster. However, while lobsters can live for decades, they still eventually age. It's a fascinating glimpse into nature's strategies for longevity. How did ancient Egyptians predict the flooding of the Nile? The ancient Egyptians believed that the flooding of the Nile depended on the position of the star Sirius in the sky. They watched for its rising and knew that when Sirius appeared, the time of the flood was approaching, bringing fertility and wealth to their land. Sirius was so important to the ancient Egyptians that it was even associated with the goddess Isis. This star helped predict harvests and prevent famine, holding significance for thousands of years. Believe it or not, the longest earthquake lasted 10 minutes. In 1960, Chile experienced the longest earthquake ever recorded, lasting an astonishing 10 minutes. This seismic event, caused by massive geological forces, triggered devastating tsunamis that even reached the shores of Japan. The earthquake left behind not only physical damage, but also a deep impact on our understanding of tectonic activity and its influence on Earth's surface. It demonstrated the incredible power of the planet and the constant movement of its layers, reminding us that Earth is never truly still. How can mysterious desert music frighten even the bravest? In the Sahara and other large sand deserts, you can hear an extraordinary sound often called the singing sands. When the wind blows over the surface of the dunes, the sand emits a deep hum, as if an orchestra is playing an invisible symphony. This sound can be so powerful that it can be heard for miles. Some researchers think the sound is caused by the sand moving across the slopes, while local tribes believe it is the voices of desert spirits guarding their lands. Why do Japanese coins have holes in the middle? 5 and 50 yen coins with holes in the center can be found all over Japan, And it's not just for unique design. Historically, the holes allowed people to easily thread the coins on a string to carry them like a necklace, making transactions simpler. But that's not the only reason. These coins are believed to bring good fortune. Today, they are considered lucky charms, and many Japanese still carry them as tokens of good luck. Why does Turkey build palaces for stray cats? In the streets of Istanbul, you can find miniature houses that look like palaces, built especially for stray cats. The locals consider cats sacred animals and care for them with great love. Some of these houses even feature carvings and balconies, with food and water bowls nearby. These cat palaces have become symbols of Turkey's respect for animals, and tourists often admire these little masterpieces around the city. Have you ever wondered if elephants can get hangovers? In Africa, elephants love the fruits of the marula tree, which, when overripe, ferment and become alcoholic. Elephants can eat up to 20 kilograms of these fruits at once, sometimes causing a mild alcoholic effect. It has been observed that after such feasts, elephants become more sluggish and even prefer to rest. Some scientists claim that this phenomenon is similar to a hangover in humans, and perhaps that's why elephants occasionally avoid marula. 6 legs but no steps. The mystery of dragonflies. Dragonflies, like most insects, have 6 legs, but here's the twist: they can't walk. Doesn't that sound illogical? Instead of using their legs to get around on the ground, dragonflies use them for entirely different purposes. Their legs are perfectly adapted for grabbing prey in mid-air. Dragonflies use their legs like a little net to catch insects while flying. This adaptation makes them true masters of aerial hunting, able to catch prey mid-flight and then settle comfortably on a branch to enjoy their meal. For them, life is all about the thrill of the chase. Astronauts don't float in zero gravity like we think. Many people believe that astronauts experience total weightlessness in space, but that's a common misconception. In reality, they are constantly falling toward Earth, but at such a high speed that they never crash into it. This continuous fall gives them the feeling of being weightless. A fantastic example of how the laws of physics turn space into a magical realm of floating. Why is space black? It's connected to Olbers's paradox, which explains why the sky is dark despite the countless stars in the universe. Though there are many stars, their light doesn't fill all of space for several reasons. First, the universe is expanding, and many stars are moving away from us so fast that their light can't reach Earth. Second, there's a cosmic horizon beyond which we cannot see, making stars beyond that point invisible to us. Thumbs have their own pulse. Have you ever wondered why people check their pulse using their index and middle fingers instead of their thumbs? It's because your thumb has its own pulse. Each thumb is supplied with blood by the radial artery, which runs along the wrist on the thumb side. This artery is so strong that you can feel its pulse when you touch it. That's why it's recommended to avoid using your thumb when taking a pulse, to prevent mixing up its pulse with your actual heartbeat. Now you know that even your thumb has its own little heartbeat. Can you believe that 3% of Antarctica's ice is penguin urine? It may sound strange, but it's true. Scientists have determined that about 3% of Antarctic ice is made up of penguin urine. In the extreme cold of Antarctica, urine doesn't evaporate as it would in warmer climates. Instead, it remains on the surface and eventually freezes, becoming part of the ice. This unusual fact shows just how unique this continent is and how its natural conditions create truly unexpected phenomena. Welcome to a town with a population of 1. Imagine an entire town with only 1 resident. Monowai, a small town in Nebraska, USA, has a population of just 1 person, Elsie Eiler. She wears many hats: mayor, librarian, and bar owner. This tiny town with a population of 1 is a unique place in the US. Elsie runs everything on her own, collects taxes from herself, and serves the few tourists who pass by. Monowee is a living example of a one-woman show, drawing attention because of its uniqueness and Elsie's story. Did you know that dark forms of oxygen can appear at the ocean floor? Scientists have discovered an amazing phenomenon, the so-called dark oxygen. Typically, we know that oxygen is produced by plants through photosynthesis with the help of sunlight. However, minerals found on the ocean floor can generate oxygen without sunlight. This discovery shocked the scientific community, as it was previously thought that oxygen on Earth only came from living organisms. Research has shown that rocks on the seabed, through a process called electrolysis of seawater, can split it into oxygen and hydrogen. This changes our understanding of oxygen generation on the planet. Why a cat's brain is 90% like a human's. Surprisingly, despite their size, a cat's brain is 90% similar to a human's. While cats don't solve equations or read books, the structure of their brain, especially the cerebral cortex, is remarkably like ours. Cats can experience emotions such as joy, fear, and even jealousy, making them far more complex than they might seem. Their ability to learn and remember is impressive. They can associate specific actions with rewards, similar to how children learn. So, perhaps your little kitty is much smarter than you think. It just chooses not to show it. Did you know there are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth? Surprisingly, there are more stars in the universe than all the grains of sand on every beach on Earth. This cosmic fact highlights the unimaginable vastness of our universe. When you look at the night sky, there are billions and billions of stars, each potentially home to planets we know nothing about yet. Our place in the cosmos feels even more humbling when you realize that stars fill the space far beyond what we can even imagine. Did you know that some frogs can freeze solid and still survive? It turns out that certain frog species, like the wood frog, can completely freeze during winter and come back to life in the spring. These amazing amphibians can survive sub-zero temperatures by freezing almost entirely solid. Their hearts stop beating, they stop breathing, and their bodies turn rock hard. Yet, when the weather warms up, they thaw and return to their usual lives, hopping around like nothing happened. Nature's cold storage system proves that frogs are some of the ultimate survivors. Believe it or not, licking your elbow is almost impossible. Have you ever tried to lick your elbow? Despite all attempts, most people simply can't do it. The reason lies in anatomy. The length of the arm and the position of the elbow make it impossible for the tongue to reach that point. Of course, there are rare exceptions. People with extraordinary flexibility might surprise their friends by succeeding. But for most of us, it's physically impossible, no matter how hard you try. This fun fact is the perfect opportunity to test your abilities and see if you're anatomically unique. But be careful not to hurt yourself in the process. Elephants fear bees, and that saves farms. Elephants are giants of the savannah, but there's something tiny that makes them run away: bees. African farmers discovered that elephants are terrified of these buzzing insects. Using this fear, they started setting up beehives along the borders of their fields. These beehive fences create a natural bee barrier, and elephants, hearing the buzzing, avoid these areas to avoid painful stings. This ingenious solution helps farmers protect their crops from being trampled, maintaining a peaceful coexistence with these majestic animals without resorting to violence. Nature truly is the best ally. Why do owls have asymmetrical ears? Owls are not only known for their sharp eyes, but also for their unique ears, which are placed asymmetrically on their heads. This unusual arrangement allows them to pick up sounds in 3 dimensions, pinpointing the location of prey, even if it's hidden under a layer of snow or leaves. This special auditory adaptation makes owls masters of nighttime hunting, capable of seeing the world through sounds. It explains why they're so successful as nocturnal predators. Imagine for them, every rustle is like a flash of light in the dark. How would you like to visit the world's most isolated island? Tristan da Cunha is the world's most remote inhabited island, located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. It lies about 2,400 kilometers from the nearest mainland. Around 260 people live on the island, most of whom are descendants of British settlers and shipwreck survivors. Tristan da Cunha has no airports, hotels, or restaurants, and the only way to reach it is by boat, on a 6-day journey from South Africa. How long do you think the world's longest tongue is? British artist Nick Stobel holds the title for the world's longest tongue. His tongue measures an impressive 10.1 centimeters, just under 4 inches. Nick can perform amazing tricks with his tongue. He can lick his nose, elbow, and even his own eye. He has also turned his unique talent into an art form, using his tongue to paint portraits. Nick covers his tongue in paint and makes strokes on canvas, creating truly unusual pieces of art. Talk about extraordinary skills. Gerocophobia. Fear of cooking is real. Gerocophobia goes far beyond just not wanting to cook. It's a deep-rooted fear that can grip someone at the mere thought of turning on the stove. Imagine standing in a kitchen surrounded by pots and pans and feeling a wave of terror, like you're in a haunted house. It's not about being bad at cooking, it's the fear that keeps people away. Not all scary things hide in closets, some are lurking in your cookbook.